Life is suffering. This is an undeniable truth, one that people try desperately to avoid, ignore, or dismiss. But no matter how much you try to shield yourself from it, suffering finds its way into your life. It is woven into the very fabric of existence. It arrives in the form of loss, disappointment, betrayal, illness, and the harsh realities of an unpredictable world. The question is not whether you will suffer. You will. The question is whether you will face it willingly or allow it to consume you. Many people spend their lives running from suffering. They seek comfort, distraction, or fleeting pleasures to dull the weight of reality. They tell themselves that if they avoid hardship, if they stay in safe, familiar places, they can escape pain. But what they fail to realize is that avoiding suffering does not eliminate it. It only magnifies it. The more you run from difficulty, the weaker you become. And the weaker you become, the more unbearable even the smallest challenges feel. Life does not reward avoidance. It rewards those who confront suffering head on. The great figures of history, those we admire, those whose names are remembered, were not people who sought comfort. They were people who faced suffering with open eyes, who shouldered burdens that others were too afraid to carry. They understood something fundamental. Suffering itself is not the enemy. It is the test. It is the process through which a person is forged into something stronger, wiser, and more capable. Without suffering, there is no growth. Without hardship, there is no character. Without struggle, there is no strength. Imagine for a moment that you had no suffering, that every day was easy, that every desire was granted to you instantly. You would not be happy. You would not be fulfilled. You would be weak, because it is only through hardship that we come to appreciate what is meaningful. It is only through struggle that we develop the discipline, the resilience, and the depth required to navigate life in a way that is worthwhile. A person who has never suffered has no real understanding of themselves. They have never had to push beyond their limits, never had to rise above their circumstances, never had to become something greater than they were yesterday. And yet, many people believe suffering is unfair, that it is something to be resented. But resentment does not ease suffering, it deepens it. Those who see themselves as victims, who believe that life has singled them out for pain, trap themselves in a cycle of bitterness. They become angry at the world, at others, at themselves. But suffering is not personal. It is not a punishment. It is simply a reality. And the moment you accept that, truly accept it, you stop being a victim and you start becoming something else. You start becoming someone capable of bearing suffering, of transforming it into something meaningful. This does not mean you should seek suffering for its own sake. That would be foolish. But it does mean that when suffering comes, as it inevitably will, you have a choice. You can curse it, reject it, collapse under its weight, or you can embrace it. You can see it as the necessary cost of becoming who you are meant to be. You can use it as a tool to sharpen yourself, to test your limits, to discover what you are truly capable of. Think about the greatest stories ever told. The hero does not rise without hardship. He does not become great without trials. He faces danger, loss, and despair, and through those experiences he becomes something more. This is not just a story, this is reality. This is the path for anyone who wants to live a life of substance rather than one of passive existence. The truth is, you cannot eliminate suffering from life, but you can choose how you respond to it. You can choose to let it break you, or you can choose to let it make you. And the choice you make will determine everything. If you run from suffering, if you try to numb it with distractions, you will find yourself weak, lost, and unfulfilled. But if you stand up, if you face suffering with courage and responsibility, you will find something far greater than comfort. You will find meaning, because meaning is not found in an easy life. It is not found in indulgence or avoidance. It is found in bearing the heaviest burden you can carry, in walking forward despite the weight, in choosing to embrace the struggle rather than flee from it. That is where true fulfillment lies. That is what separates those who live with purpose from those who merely exist. So, when suffering comes, and it will, do not shrink from it. Do not resent it. Face it, carry it, let it shape you, and in doing so, become the kind of person who is not defeated by life, but who rises above it. Meaning is not something handed to you. It is not something you simply stumble upon or receive by virtue of existing. It is something you must earn, something you must fight for, something that requires effort, sacrifice, and responsibility. Too many people today believe that meaning should be easy, that it should come naturally, that it should be obvious. But nothing of true value ever comes without a price. If you want a meaningful life, you must be willing to work for it. Many people go through life feeling lost, directionless, unsure of who they are or what they should be doing. They look around and wonder why life feels empty, why nothing excites them, why every achievement or pleasure seems to fade so quickly. And the reason is simple. They have not earned meaning. They have not put in the effort to build something real, to take on responsibility, to shape their lives into something that matters. Meaning is not found in idle comfort. It is found in struggle, in discipline, in the pursuit of something beyond yourself. A person who expects meaning to come to them passively will be disappointed. They will wait and wait, hoping that one day everything will just make sense, that a purpose will reveal itself. But it does not work that way. You do not wake up one day with a deep sense of meaning simply because you desire it. Meaning is the byproduct of action. It is the result of engaging with the world in a way that is difficult, in a way that requires effort, in a way that pushes you beyond who you were yesterday. Consider someone who spends their life avoiding responsibility, avoiding hardship, avoiding commitment. They do only what is easy, what is pleasurable in the moment, what requires the least amount of effort. Will this person find meaning? No, because meaning is found in bearing a burden, in carrying something difficult, in voluntarily taking on the weight of responsibility. If you are not willing to carry a burden, you will never feel the deep fulfillment that comes from knowing you are needed, that you are contributing, that you are playing a role in something larger than yourself. People often mistake happiness for meaning, but they are not the same. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes based on external circumstances, based on whether things are going well or poorly in a given moment. But meaning is different. Meaning is deeper. Meaning sustains you even when things are difficult, even when suffering is unavoidable. It is what gives you a reason to keep going when everything around you feels unbearable. But you only have access to that kind of strength if you have earned it. If you have done the hard work required to build a life of meaning, then even in suffering, you will not feel lost. You will feel a sense of purpose, a sense that your struggles are not in vain, that they are part of something worthwhile. So how do you earn meaning? You start by taking responsibility. You find something that matters, something that requires effort, and you commit to it fully. Maybe it is your career, maybe it is your family, maybe it is a creative pursuit or a skill or a cause greater than yourself. Whatever it is, you devote yourself to it. You take on the challenges it presents. You work through the difficulties. You refuse to quit when things get hard, because it is through effort and perseverance that meaning is built. Think about the things in your life that have given you the greatest sense of fulfillment. Were they easy? Were they effortless? No. The most meaningful moments, the deepest sense of pride and purpose, come from overcoming something difficult, from pushing through obstacles, from proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. That is why meaning must be earned. It cannot be handed to you, because if it were, it would not hold any real value. The struggle is what makes it real. Some people believe that meaning should be found first and then action should follow. They think once I figure out what my purpose is, then I will start working toward it. But this is completely backward. You do not find meaning and then take action. You take action, and through that action, meaning emerges. You step forward into the unknown. You take on responsibility. You engage with the world in a meaningful way. And then over time, you begin to see the purpose in what you are doing. This is why passivity is the enemy of meaning. If you sit back and wait for life to hand you a purpose, you will wait forever. You must create meaning through what you do, through the choices you make, through the sacrifices you are willing to endure. It is not an easy path, but it is the only path that leads anywhere worth going. So if you feel lost, if you feel like life lacks meaning, ask yourself, what responsibility am I avoiding? What challenge am I refusing to face? What burden can I choose to carry? Because meaning does not come to those who wait for it. It comes to those who earn it. Fear is one of the most misunderstood emotions. Many people see fear as an enemy, something to be avoided at all costs. They believe that if they feel afraid, they must be doing something wrong, that fear is a signal to turn back, to retreat, to stay where it is safe and comfortable. But this is a fundamental mistake. Fear is not an obstacle to be removed. It is a guide. It is a map that points directly to the places where you need to grow. It tells you exactly where you are weak, where you are unprepared, where you must focus your effort if you want to become stronger. If you pay attention to your fear, if you listen to what it is telling you, you will see that it is directing you toward the areas of your life that require change. It is showing you the challenges you must face, the truths you must confront, the parts of yourself that you have neglected. But most people do not want to hear this. They would rather ignore fear, suppress it, distract themselves from it. They turn away from what frightens them, and in doing so, they also turn away from growth. Imagine two paths. One is smooth, easy, familiar. The other is difficult, uncertain, and full of obstacles. The first path is comfortable, but it leads nowhere. It is a loop that keeps you circling back to the same place, never advancing, never improving. The second path is terrifying. It forces you to confront your limitations, to push beyond what you thought you were capable of. But it is also the only path that leads to something meaningful. And fear is the signpost that marks the way. It tells you this is where you need to go. Think about the moments in your life when you were truly afraid. Maybe it was when you had to speak in front of an audience, when you had to make a difficult decision, when you had to take a risk with no guarantee of success. Fear arises in these moments because they matter, because they have the power to shape your future. If you run from them, you remain stagnant. But if you face them, if you walk directly into what you fear, you emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means pay attention. It means something important is happening. It means you are standing at the edge of your comfort zone, about to step into unknown territory. And the unknown is always frightening, but it is also where transformation occurs. If you stay where you are, if you never take the step into uncertainty, you will never grow. You will remain the same, trapped by the boundaries of what is familiar. But if you move forward despite fear, if you willingly confront what frightens you, you expand those boundaries. You become someone who is not controlled by fear, but guided by it. This is why some of the most successful, courageous people in history are not those who feel no fear, but those who act in spite of it. They recognize fear for what it is. Not a force that stops them, but a signal that they are on the right path. They understand that fear is proof that they are pushing themselves, that they are doing something meaningful, and they use that fear as fuel rather than as a reason to quit. The greatest tragedy is that so many people let fear dictate their lives. They avoid opportunities. They stay in jobs they hate. They refuse to speak up. They let their dreams die because pursuing them would mean facing the fear of failure, rejection, or embarrassment. But the truth is, fear will always be there. You can either let it control you or you can learn to use it. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing fear as a barrier, see it as an invitation. If something scares you, it is because it has the potential to change you. It is an indication that you are stepping into something significant, something with real stakes. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means this is important. The moment you start treating fear as a guide rather than an enemy, everything changes. You begin to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. You stop hesitating when something scares you because you understand that fear is simply part of the process of becoming stronger. You stop seeing discomfort as something to avoid and start recognizing it as a necessary ingredient for growth. So when fear arises, do not turn away. Do not shrink back into safety and comfort. Look at it directly. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? What weakness is it revealing? What opportunity is it presenting? And then move toward it. Do the thing that scares you, because that is the only way to grow. That is the only way to ensure that fear does not rule your life, but instead becomes your greatest ally. Struggle is not something to be avoided. It is not an unfortunate burden placed upon you by an unfair world. Struggle is the path to greatness, the fire through which strength is forged, the test that separates those who remain stagnant from those who rise above. If you look at anyone who has achieved something meaningful, you will see that struggle was not just a part of their journey, it was the essential force that shaped them into who they became. People often wish for an easy life, for success without hardship, for rewards without effort. But this is an illusion. Anything that comes easily is rarely worth having. Strength, wisdom, and character do not emerge from comfort. They emerge from facing difficulty, from pushing beyond limitations, from enduring when others would quit. The person who refuses to struggle also refuses to grow. They remain weak, untested, incapable of handling the true challenges of life. Greatness is not given, it is earned through adversity. The strongest individuals, the ones who inspire others and leave a lasting impact, are not those who were handed success on a silver platter. They are the ones who suffered, who failed, who endured setbacks but kept moving forward. They are the ones who took on burdens heavier than they thought they could carry, and in doing so became stronger than they ever imagined. Imagine a person who never struggles, who never faces hardship, never experiences failure, never has to fight for anything. What kind of person do they become? Weak, dependent, unable to deal with the realities of life. They may live in comfort, but they will never know the deep satisfaction of overcoming, of triumphing over something difficult, of earning their place in the world. Now imagine a person who embraces struggle, who willingly takes on responsibility, who does not back down when faced with hardship. They may suffer, they may experience failure, but they will also grow. They will become someone who can endure, who can lead, who can face uncertainty and rise above it. They will become someone capable of greatness. The process of struggle is what refines you. It is what reveals your weaknesses and forces you to confront them. It is what makes you disciplined, resilient, and capable. Every challenge you overcome adds another layer to your strength. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to become more than you were before. But this only happens if you embrace the struggle rather than running from it. Many people fear struggle because it is painful. And yes, it is painful. It is difficult. It is exhausting. But that pain is the price of growth. And the alternative, the absence of struggle, is far worse. A life without struggle is a life without progress. It is a life of stagnation, of untapped potential, of looking back years later and realizing you never became what you could have been. Think about the most meaningful moments in your life. Were they easy, or did they come after hardship, after effort, after pushing through something that seemed impossible at the time? The things that mean the most, the achievements, the relationships, the personal victories, are meaningful precisely because they required struggle. This is why those who seek out challenges, who willingly place themselves in situations that demand growth, are the ones who achieve the most. They understand that struggle is not the enemy. It is the process of becoming something greater. They do not avoid discomfort. They seek it because they know that every difficult thing they endure is another step toward mastery, toward wisdom, toward success. If you want to achieve anything of real value, you must accept struggle as a necessary part of the journey. You must stop seeing it as something unfair or unnecessary and start seeing it as the force that will make you into the person you are meant to be. The harder the struggle, the greater the transformation. So when you encounter difficulty, do not shrink from it. Do not complain about how unfair it is. Face it, accept it, understand that it is shaping you into someone stronger, more capable, more prepared for the challenges ahead. Understand that struggle is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced, because in the end, struggle is what leads to greatness. Potential is not something that automatically reveals itself. It does not unfold simply because you exist or because you have been told you have talent. It is not a gift that is handed to you, nor is it a guarantee. Potential is something that must be earned. It must be discovered through action, through effort, through the difficult process of pushing yourself beyond your current limits. No one finds out what they are truly capable of by sitting still, by waiting, by wishing. The only way to unlock potential is through movement, through struggle, through the relentless pursuit of growth. Many people like to believe that potential is a fixed thing, that some individuals are simply born with more of it than others. They assume that talent alone determines success, that some people are destined for greatness while others are not. But this is a deeply flawed way of thinking. Potential is not something you either have or do not have. It is something you create, something you uncover by taking risks, by putting yourself in situations that challenge you, by choosing action over hesitation. There are countless people with extraordinary potential who never achieve anything meaningful because they never take action. They wait for the right moment, for the perfect opportunity, for a time when they feel ready. But that moment never comes because readiness is not something that arrives before action. It is something that is built through action. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. The only way to know what you are capable of is to do, to step forward into uncertainty, to test yourself against difficulty, to willingly embrace challenges that force you to grow. Every time you take action, you gain insight into your strengths and weaknesses. You learn what you need to improve. You gain skills, resilience, and discipline. You begin to see that potential is not something that exists within you as a passive force. It is something that emerges only when you engage with the world. Think about a skill you admire in others, whether it is leadership, artistry, athletic ability, or intellectual mastery. None of these things are purely the result of natural talent. They are the result of effort, of practice, of deliberate action repeated over time. Even those with innate talent must refine it through work, or it remains dormant. A person with the potential to be a great musician will never realize it if they do not pick up an instrument. A person with the potential to be a great leader will never develop those abilities if they never put themselves in situations that demand leadership. The truth is, potential is wasted more often than it is realized. And the reason is simple. Taking action is difficult. It requires risk. It requires stepping into the unknown, making mistakes, facing failure, and enduring discomfort. Many people prefer to live with the idea of what they could be rather than facing the reality of what they are and doing the work required to improve. They cling to the comforting belief that they have greatness within them, yet they refuse to do what is necessary to bring it out. But potential means nothing if it is not realized. The world does not reward those who could have been great. It rewards those who take action, who turn their potential into something real. And the only way to do that is to stop hesitating, to stop waiting for permission, to stop looking for shortcuts, and to start doing the work. There is no perfect starting point. There is only now. Whatever it is that you feel drawn to, whatever path you suspect might lead to something meaningful, start walking it. Take the first step, no matter how small. Do not wait until you have all the answers, because you never will. Do not wait until you feel confident, because confidence is built through action. Every step forward, no matter how uncertain, is a step toward unlocking more of what you are capable of. People often say, I don't know what my passion is, or I don't know what I'm meant to do. The answer is not found in passively thinking about it. It is found in trying things, in doing things, in exploring, failing, learning, and adjusting. Clarity comes through experience, not contemplation. The more you engage with the world, the more you understand what drives you, what challenges you, and what pushes you toward growth. Potential is a seed. It contains promise, but it is useless if it is never planted, never watered, never given the chance to grow. If you want to unlock your potential, you must act. You must embrace the discomfort of learning, the struggle of improvement, the reality of failure as a necessary part of success. You must choose action over doubt, effort over hesitation, persistence over fear. Because in the end, potential is not what you could be, it is what you choose to become. And the only way to become anything at all is to take the first step and then keep going. The hero's journey is not just a story structure found in myths, books, and movies. It is a universal pattern that applies to everyone. It is the story of transformation, struggle, and growth, and it mirrors the path that every individual must walk if they wish to become more than they are. Whether or not you see yourself as a hero, you are on a journey. The only question is whether you will answer the call or turn away from it. Or, at some point in life, everyone encounters a challenge that forces them to step beyond what is familiar. This is the call to adventure, the moment when you realize that the way you have been living is not enough, that something more is required of you. Sometimes this call comes as an opportunity, a challenge, or an ambition that demands effort and risk. Other times it comes as a crisis, a loss, or a situation that forces you to change whether you want to or not. Most people resist this call at first. They hesitate. They make excuses. They tell themselves they are not ready, not capable, not worthy. They cling to comfort and familiarity, even as they feel a growing sense that they are meant for something more. This is the refusal of the call, a stage that many never move beyond. Fear holds them back. The fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, the fear of leaving behind what is safe. But no transformation happens without first stepping into the unknown. For those who accept the call, the journey truly begins. The path ahead is uncertain, filled with trials, setbacks, and moments of doubt. This is where the struggle begins. You are tested, challenged, pushed beyond what you thought you could handle. You must confront your weaknesses, overcome obstacles, and develop the skills and strength necessary to continue. And along the way, you will meet allies, mentors, friends, or experiences that guide you, push you forward, and help shape you into who you need to become. But every journey also includes deep suffering. There is always a moment where you face your greatest challenge, your darkest fear, your moment of crisis. This is the abyss, the point at which many people give up, turn back, or break under the weight of difficulty. It is in this moment that you must decide whether to continue, whether to endure, to transform, to rise above the person you were before. This is where real change happens. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in struggle, in hardship, in the willingness to keep going when everything seems lost. If you push through, if you do not allow failure to define you, you emerge on the other side transformed. You gain wisdom, strength, resilience. You are not the same person who started the journey. You have earned something that cannot be taken away, a deeper understanding of yourself, a new level of capability, and the knowledge that you are stronger than you ever believed. But the hero's journey does not end with personal transformation. The final stage is the return. The moment when you bring back what you have learned, when you use your experience to make a difference in the world around you. True growth is not just for your own benefit. It is something that allows you to contribute, to lead, to help others on their own journeys. The lessons you learn through struggle are not meant to be kept to yourself. They are meant to be shared, to inspire, to guide others as they face their own challenges. This cycle repeats throughout life. There is never just one journey. Every new challenge, every ambition, every hardship is another call to adventure, another opportunity to grow. And each time you must decide, will you accept the challenge or will you turn away? The hero's journey applies to everyone because life itself is a series of trials and transformations. You do not have to be a mythical hero or an extraordinary person to go through it. It happens to anyone who dares to step outside their comfort zone, to face their fears, to pursue something greater than themselves. Those who refuse the call remain stuck in the same place, wondering what could have been. But those who embrace the journey, who willingly face the struggles that come with it, who push through hardship and emerge stronger, they are the ones who truly live. Your journey is unfolding, whether you acknowledge it or not. The question is not whether you have a hero's journey. The question is, will you answer the call?